Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the GG report, and I'm talking to two wonderful gentlemen. We are looking at the aftermath, the Gen Z, protest and its implication. And the question is whether actually this is a political legal reset. Has everything changed, or what exactly is the future? But we still have a lot of, questions, unanswered questions. I think this is kind of like the whole protesting has brought us back to the conversation, because people have to understand what's going on. And before we went to the break, gentlemen, we were dealing with the question of, whether the Finance Act, the finance bill, the 2024, whether it was actually needed, and what are the other, what does it mean when the Treasury tells us or brings in some kind of budget estimate? So you are speaking to that. So and there's also the need to separate the bills, the appropriation bill and the Finance Act, and so those kind of things, the amendment actually.
Yes. So I think, and I had stated this, I think I need now to use more simpler language, that the appropriations bill appropriates, and that budget process starts from people or the various government agencies estimating, giving their estimates, just like what we do in our house. You plan by estimates. I estimate that in the coming year I will need X amount of shillings to fund my food. I will need X amount of shillings to pay for my fuel.
Okay.
So I submit those estimates, and in our budget cycle those estimates are submitted to Parliament in April.
Okay.
So all through this process, public participation is going on. Parliament is conducting public participation. We are saying, no, we need to fund Project X. Now, these famous sayings of tumetenga, that's kutenga happens in the estimates.
Okay.
That's where we tenga.
Yes.
Then after we have tengered,
yes,
now we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to fund what we have planned for?
Yes,
we have said we need to have 1 billion shillings to build road X.
Yes.
We ask ourselves, KRA, how much tax did you collect last year? We collected 2.7 trillion.
Okay.
And here we have budget estimates of 4 trillion.
Yes.
Where do we get the extra amount?
Yes.
So we go back to our tax laws and say, no, we have been charging corporate tax at 30%. Let's increase it to 35%. So we have to amend the Income Tax Act.
Okay.
We have been charging, we have exempted bread from VAT. We need an extra amount of money. So let's amend the VAT Act to re-include
bread.
Mm-hmm. We need to increase excise duty on alcohol, for instance. Let's amend the Excise Duty Act.
Yes.
So the finance bill comes now to when we are asking ourselves, do we need to increase our tax revenues because there has been a deficit in funding our budget?
If there was no deficit, there wouldn't be need for that finance bill.
No. The only need would be if now we have said our taxes are good, are fine, now let us reduce the tax burden. So if we wanted to also reduce the tax burden on Kenyans,
would still need a finance bill.
We need the finance bill. And for instance, this finance bill also had some reductions on our burdens. Yeah. For instance, there was an increase in terms of the relief someone would get when you're saving for a pension.
Yes.
That one had been increased from I think 15,000 to 30,000. So it was bringing more money to those people who are employed.
Yes.
That tax relief.
Yes.
It had been increased in this finance bill. So
okay.
The finance bill also, if we needed to decrease pay, for instance,
yes,
we will also have a finance bill. If we need to exempt this good equipment you're using here from certain taxes,
media equipment,
you will need to go to Treasury and tell them, pass a finance bill reducing these taxes so that you can grow the media industry in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
okay.
that is the difference. Appropriation is budgeting. And something else most Kenyans have not realized, we have focused so much on the finance bill, and we have forgotten that we did not read the budget itself.
Yes.
And the budget itself has already been assented. There is an Appropriations Act, but the president, I have seen his statement, he has said he has instructed National Treasury to prepare a supplementary Appropriations Act to take out 326 billion that was supposed to be funded by this, the 326 billion deficit.
Okay.
Yes.
That was supposed to be funded
by this
through the Finance Act, which has been rejected.
bill. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finance bill, not act.
Yeah, the finance bill. All
Yes,
right. So,
yes. So I hope that is clear now.
yeah, I think it is. We will see
Yeah.
if there are any questions, but I think that's very well said, Godfrey. So let me ask Godfrey to take on one more issue, because I think we still have quite a bit to handle, and because we promised we're going to ask the big question of, and this is the question actually I want to bring: is this the political moment to change Kenya? Is the current president capable of delivering the change Kenyans want? So that's a real political question, which is now beyond the bill, beyond the all these appropriation, reject, accept, stuff like that. Is this the political moment to change Kenya, and is the current president capable of delivering the change Kenyans want?
Two pertinent questions that you've asked.
Yes.
Is this the political moment? There could not have been any greater moment to engage and take Kenya to a new dispensation as this moment right now.
Wonderful.
Yes, because
positive answer.
We have been waiting for the age of inclusivity. Generation Z, millennials have always been accused of being apathetic to issues of national importance. They are here right now.
They have jumped into the conversation.
Exactly. They're saying we are here right now. We've been accused of being ignorant in the past. We are here right now. We want to build this nation. We want to be part of the political process. We want to be part of the economic process. Engaging on issues of the finance bill is just but an example.
So Godfrey,
yes.
Because it's a matter we can't exhaust. The only pushback
Yes.
that I don't hear the Gen Z responding to
Yes.
is that a significant number of the Gen Z did
Yes.
not vote
Yes.
2 years ago.
Yes.
And I think they were in a...
allow me to elaborate
Yes.
on that.
Yes, go on.
It is very true that a very high percentage of the population that constitute the Gen Z did not vote in the last elections.
Yes.
But right now, with this kind of engagement that we have experienced in the last week, there is every reason to believe that Gen Z will be forming part of the lines that Kenyans form during the voting process. They are going to be there.
Yeah.
It is estimated that the population of the Gen Z is between 15 and 20 million. That's a huge number. That's a huge number that the political class need to engage, that the political class need to tap into, that the emerging leadership that will come from the Gen Zs and the millennials need to tap into. You cannot ignore this particular generation, and they are very, very good when it comes to public participation.
Wonderful.
Yes. The issue.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Yes.
Because what you've said, and I'm actually jumping in just to
Yes.
affirm what you've said,
Yes.
that indeed, and we need to tell the Gen Z that if the Gen Zs come into the game,
Yes.
they can then dictate the new Kenya leadership they want.
Yes.
They have the numbers.
Yes.
But if they make the mistake of even the millennials and Generation X, who also have been apathetic, I think you alluded to it.
Yes.
The feeling that, there's nothing we can do, and anything we try to do, really nobody cares.
Yes.
So I think the Gen Z have proved
Yes.
that they can engage,
Yes.
and they can get change.
Yes.
So I totally agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Moving forward, issues to do with public participation, and I'd earlier alluded to this, issues to do with public participation is not an issue that members of parliament should take casually. Because the reason they have been voted in to get into those two honorable houses is because of oversight. They need to be present.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I think we're speaking to the moment.
Yes.
And I want to ask Alex to actually comment on that. Because he is a mentor. He told us he mentors young people.
Yes.
So Alex, do you think that this actually makes it easier to bring the young people into the political conversation, which for a long time, I mean, older generations, you know, they have been very apathetic. Do you think actually this is the right moment?
Yes, I think this is the right moment, and that's why I said I'm very optimistic. And for me, I'm looking at it from a broader perspective.
Yes.
I'm not looking at it as a moment for Gen Z only. I'm looking at it as a moment for every Kenyan.
Okay.
No matter which generation you are from. The Gen Zs are on our leaders in this movement, and in this moment, but it's our moment, everyone's moment. There's the PS for Foreign Affairs yesterday commented when he was calling for people to keep calm. He was saying that we engage in a conversation of reforming the state. The president also in his statement talked about, let us reform the state. The president said that he has appreciated that there is a disconnect between the people and the state. And that is the truth.
Yes.
And that is the message the Gen Zs are communicating. Most of them were not communicating about the finance bill. It was about the disconnect between the people and the state.
Right.
And that is the moment we are at. And how do we reform the state? Is for the state to be what Abraham Lincoln called a government by the people, for the people. For our state to be, for us to reconfigure the state so that the state, those people who are controlling the state understand that the state is supposed to protect the people, take care of the interest of the people, and the state is not supposed to keep the people back. It's supposed to welcome the people in. That is what was provided for in the Constitution of Kenya 2010.
Yes.
But our state is still in 1920.
Okay.
Do you know which state was in 1920? The state that was in 1920 was formed by the white man, the colonizer.
Yes.
And that state was designed to keep me, the black man, away. That's why when you would find an askari at the gate, you had to remove your hat when you're going to the DC and the police officer. That's why the police officer will never greet you, because the organs of state, the colonial organs of state, were designed to keep you away.
Okay.
But now the Gen Zs are saying, we need to do away with the colonial state, go to the state that is designed in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The state where the government is for the people, by the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you've opened something very interesting. Maybe even the idea of Occupy State House, perhaps is being misunderstood. Maybe
Yes.
the Gen Z, what they mean by that is allow us to come and sit inside that compound, you know,
Yes.
and maybe even spend a night there.
Yes.
Occupy, but not violently.
It's not violence. It's not about violence. It's not about...
We want to make a statement that
Yes.
we are not enemy of the state,
Yes.
and the state is not our enemy.
The state is us.
The
We are
state is us, and we
Yes.
are part of it.
Yes,
Okay, wonderful.
exactly.
I think...
And it's very important, because I saw some people in social media start saying that, oh, Gen Zs want to overthrow the government. It's not about overthrowing the government.
Yes.
Nothing about, far from it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
The Gen Zs are not anarchists.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. I think, you know, you've had it from my guests here. We are talking about this political movement, this particular political movement, whether it is actually indeed a reset, a legal and political reset. And I think you've really, addressed that question, and I'm very happy. Maybe the only question, which is really like your opinion,
Yes.
whether the current president is actually, let me put it bluntly, whether he has the capacity to engage. I think a lot of people felt that, of course, on the night of the mayhem, he came out very, very strongly. Everybody wants to be an interpreter of emotions and body language and all that. And clearly, I think the general opinion was that he could have been more engaging. He even didn't greet fellow Kenyans. So, I mean, among other things. So, I want you to comment on that. And this is not really necessarily a conversation to praise the president, because even if we did, I think, you know, this conversation cannot necessarily clearly say this is it. All right. So, and the best time to appraise him is 2027, if at all, or earlier. So speak to that.
Yes. First of all, I had not responded to the second question.
Yes.
Whether this government has the capacity to address the issues that are being brought out. My answer is any government that shows the commitment and desire can address the issues that have been brought out. So we cannot give this government right now a stamp of disapproval. They're just 2 years into service.
Okay.
You see, yeah. By the end of the 5 years, once a review is conducted, we shall be able to know whether the commitment is there or not.
Okay.
Perhaps things have been moving slowly in this government. So the way from my end, the way I look at it is that government ought to be given time to finish this first term, and to have a proper review, of the so-called projects, the so-called development agenda that they articulated during the election period, that they promised to Kenyans that they were going to deliver. On the issue of participation, by the Gen Zs, participation comes in different forms. Godfrey, participation comes in different forms. Going to occupy State House really, to me, does not constitute participation. Okay. Yes. Maybe it was just in the heat of the moment and anger that, you know, maybe some of these youths wanted to demonstrate their abilities, but it is not a wise idea. All State House and all state lodges in Kenya remain protected areas. Okay. Yes, that informs the reason why actually much more security has been employed to protect these areas. So let us learn to be, I would advise the Gen Zs, let us learn to picket within the limits of the Constitution. Okay. However, the Gen Zs have also used the form of media properly to carry out public participation. You see, there's always a misconceived notion or theory in this country that for you to organize a public demonstration, you must have very deep pockets. Okay. Yes, to do so. But the Gen Zs have, you know, they have clearly demystified that thought. You know, these people do not even have a leader. Huh? Yeah, they articulated the issues on social media, and that takes me again to Article 33, Article 34, and 35 of the Constitution of Kenya. Freedom of information is paramount to a healthy democracy, and especially for a country like Kenya that is still on the verge of realizing top-notch democracy. The Gen Zs have used that particular platform to address their issues. Social media has been central to all the issues that the Gen Zs have been addressing. So and social media form is actually under Article 33, 34, and 35 of the Constitution, under freedom of information. So these particular channels ought not to be interfered with at any time. These are the tools of engagement where this generation find it appropriate to articulate their issues. And it is even obvious that the president has a very strong social media account, you know, where he has also been engaging. Engaging members of the public. So this needs to be taken into consideration. And for me, let me just touch on another issue that probably I feel we have overlooked, and this is the issue of clandestine arrests that have been made.
Before you get there,
yes,
I want him to address the issue of this is a kind of a second issue before we wrap up.
Yes.
Is Gen Z generation ready for the challenging task of leading this country? So I want him to speak to that. Then now when we come back, we will delve with that issue of, you know, what you're talking about. You know, I think, yeah, so we'll come back to you. I want him to address whether, in your observation, you said you meant a Gen Z, whether actually you think if today the Gen Zs actually took the reins of power in whatever form and within the various institutions, do you think they are prepared for that hard task of leading Kenyans?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will give you an example. Look at the, let's start locally. Look at the people who are in the forefront of this movement. There's a lady, she's called Hanifa.
Yes.
She organized a fundraising for those injured and raised about 28 million shillings.
And families that lost.
Families that lost. She has coordinated it very well. Nobody in government has, even government itself has not assisted those who are injured, those who lost. Government has done. The people we have in leadership cannot, you know, take care of such logistics. Look at, there's a gentleman, most of the gentlemen and ladies in that Gen Z protest are leading very innovative, very good businesses that most of us cannot run. But also look at the demographics of leaders in Europe, especially Scandinavia. You will find they are very young people.
Right.
Yes, very young. Look at the Prime Minister of Sweden, the Prime Minister of Norway, Denmark. And those are countries where the standard of life is top notch. So these people can lead. Then something else we need to look at. These are the people who have asked questions which we should have asked in 1963 and 64. We are assuming, my colleague was talking about unconstitutional offices that are not established in the Constitution of Kenya 27. The office of First Lady has always been there, even in Mwai Kibaki's time.
Yeah.
It's not a creature of the Constitution. But we should, Gigi should have asked that question in 1990.
No, 1990, what we were doing as we ran 1990, first of all, our big problem was the clause Section 2A. So we did our bit. So we did our bit. We got rid of Section 2A and then the Mandamano, the famous Sabasaba and all that, and it was ugly. So
these people are ready, they should take over.
Absolutely. So I completely agree. So there's something else you are saying you've not addressed, and I want you to address that as we wrap up.
Yes, it is the issue of clandestine arrests that have happened in recently as a result of the protests that we've had.
Yes.
I think it is very important to adhere to Article 49 and Article 51 of the Constitution. These young people were arrested for actually adhering to Article 37. So in essence, there is no crime. If we are to ask, why are you arresting these youths? Somebody will ask you that. And that youth will tell you that, we are demonstrating on the tenets of Article 37 of the Constitution, where we have a right to assembly and a right to picketing. So there is no reason why these youths were being arrested. And actually, if you look at the protests that were there, the protests that have been there, it has been almost 80 to 90% successful in my own analysis. Yes, because there have been no grand cases of theft. Fine. We've come to hear that some properties were destroyed, but I really fail to fathom or believe that most that these distractions are actually associated with the protests that have taken place.
I think I can comment on the
question
that have
taken place.
So let's quickly comment on that, and because I also want to read some comments.
Yes. So for me to in conclusion, these particular Gen Zs actually are professionals. If you look at the composition, Godfrey, some of them are dentists. I've actually been going through some of the profiles that I've been seeing on social media. Some of them are dentists, some of them are medical practitioners, some of them are lawyers. So these are people who can sit at the table of engagement with the right persons in government to chart the way forward. Let's do that. Thank you.
One more thing you wanted to comment?
Oh yeah, he was asking about adhering to Article 49, 50. It's not an issue of of the Constitution. I think for when we got the Constitution of Kenya 2010, it has remained a document largely, and that's why we have to retool the state. And retooling the state is going to the various organs of the state. We have the Constitution of Kenya 2010, but our police force is still in 1920.
Okay.
It's still taking care of the black man.
Yes.
Removing the black man from the streets. So that's why you will find a police officer is likely to stop a young man walking along State House Road, but they will not ask them a question when they are walking down in downtown.
Okay.
So it's about retooling. Probably we need to start amending the National Police Service Act. We need to rethink our criminal procedure code. Those colonial laws. You will find like the police use the criminal procedure code. Our criminal justice system is based on the criminal procedure code. That law was enacted in Kenya in 1930.
Wow. Absolutely. So there is a lot of cleaning up. I think what's coming out of this conversation, that there are a lot of cleaning up, a lot of things that were under the carpet in the some dusty old books that now everything has to be revisited. I think that's the thing. That may be the reset sort of thing. And thank you, gentlemen, for speaking to this. I really think as viewers, you definitely have had it from these two very, very wonderful legal expert, legal minds. And I want to thank those of you that have been following this conversation, because we are just out of time. Karen Mwehaki, thank you very much. David Kingola, Mwanahabari Busolo, all of you are absolutely engaged with this conversation. Wajiro, Magi, Mavasi, Penso, I don't know what she means by that. Aaron Jacob following, Japheth Dennis Othiambo following live. Thank you very much. Sam K, Inspiration, great. Gen Z are ready to lead. They have solutions for many issues. And I think that absolutely, the case, I think that has been clearly demonstrated. And I think every nation needs this kind of a shake-up, a kind of a moment of, awakening. So I think that's what everybody is calling it, a moment of awakening. The Gen Z have awoken us, and I think we are all ready. So I think I just give you literally 30 seconds and make it 30 seconds. Look at that camera, and in 30 seconds, just speak to the Gen Z, one word of advice as a lawyer.
To the Gen Z of this great nation, let us keep the discussions professional, and let us continue to engage on social media platforms as you have been doing. You have raised very pertinent issues that the government has actually pledged to address. We shall be keeping the government on its toes to see whether they have addressed this issue. And once again, my sincere thanks to your generation for coming out and showing this great nation that you are here, that you are ready to engage, that you are ready to participate in the next election, and you are ready to be part of the leadership that will lead Kenya into a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, Alex.
For me, I want to pass my thanks and much respect to those young people who are in the forefront of, leading these conversations. There were doctors who are giving medical care to injured people in the protests, professionals, advocates who are bailing out protesters. I want to thank them. I want to thank my president of the Law Society of Kenya. Good job. To everyone, to Gen Zs, to all Kenyans, let's not stop talking. Let's talk, let's learn, let's read, let's hold our leaders and government officials everywhere to account.
Let's engage.
Let's
Thank
engage.
you. Thank you very much indeed. We are out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for engaging and keeping tuned in. I have been your host, Godfrey Gichuki. This is the GDG Report. Once again, every Friday evening from 8 o'clock, we are here. We'll be coming back to you, and keep it elevated, and God bless you. Have a great evening. Bye for now.